Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to the channel and welcome back to XDefiant. Today we got a brand new XDebrief, one of those deep dives that the developers give us once a month where they go and talk about the current state of the game, they talk about future updates, and they talk about new content that's going to be coming out. And today we learned a lot. I'm actually pretty happy with what we got from today's XDebrief. We have a pretty major patch coming out tomorrow, which is not going to be adding a ton of features, but it will be rebalancing the game. Though don't worry, they did yet again let us know about the roadmap and things that are going to be coming in the future, and a lot of those things are going to be very positive changes. So for right now, let's talk about tomorrow's update and how it's going to change up the game overall. They are going to be yet again changing up the factions. They're going to be rebalancing a couple of weapons, and the weapons I think are the most interesting, so let's just go and check that out first. The rapid fire barrel and the muzzle booster attachments were actually causing less recoil on certain weapons, such as the ACR and the AK-47, when they were supposed to add more recoil. That's going to be fixed. They're going to be reducing the MP7's magazine capacity from 35 to 30, that's huge, as well as reducing its rate of fire by 25 rounds per minute. That's going to be crazy because the MP7's been like the meta god gun since the inception of XDefiant, and now it's going to be nerfed. I'm really interested to hear about that. They're going to be updating the old iron sights that were appearing on certain variants of the LVOAC. I'm going to start calling that the LV rifle or something. That is an entire mouthful right there. And then they're going to be changing up these shotguns. I'm not going to go through and read every single thing here individually, but basically suffice it to say, shotguns are getting buffed. They're going to be having more range, and they're going to have less hipfire spread, and there are going to be less penalties for trying to use movement with a shotgun. If you guys ever used like the AA-12, the double barrel, even the M870, you'll know that if you slid and you jumped or whatever, sometimes your hipfire spread would be so ridiculously wide that you were just super punished for trying to be mobile at all with a shotgun in a game where shotguns have virtually no range and honestly no real place within the overall meta of the game. Well, tomorrow they're going to be buffing up shotguns and reducing the penalties for moving with shotguns, which will be good. I'm interested to see how that's going to play out. Obviously, shotguns are by far like the hardest weapons to balance in a video game. If they're really good, then they dominate, right? They completely take over the multiplayer, but if they're really bad, then they're completely useless, right? It's really hard to find that perfect in-between, that nice middle ground when it comes to shotgun play, and that's coming from someone who loves using shotguns in this game. Every single shotgun in the game right now, I have up to about silver-ish, somewhere around there. You know, I don't use them all the time, but I use them quite often. I think they're fun to use, and now they're actually going to be relatively viable. I'm interested to see how that's going to play out overall. In terms of weapon changes, I mean, this is a pretty substantial update to the meta of XDefiant. You know, rapid fire barrel was something that was used quite often on the AK-47 and the ACR. The MP7 was by far the most meta weapon of the game, and so that's getting nerfed, and then the rapid fire barrel is actually going to be adding recoil to the AK and the ACR, so that's going to change up a bit of three of the most popular weapons within the game, which may cause for a bit of a meta shakeup, which I think would be pretty good. I mean, when they buffed up the M4, for example, suddenly you start seeing a lot of M4s in your lobby. I like having that happen. You know, when the MP5 got buffed a little bit, it's still not like the best SMG in the world, but it was nice to see more MP5s and less MP7s out in the wild. So weapon changes like this, I think, are well warranted and well deserved. And again, I'm interested to see how it's going to go when the update goes live tomorrow. Next up here, factions. This is actually pretty crazy because Echelon in the Intel suit, which is something that's been plaguing the game since launch, you know, they nerfed them around season 1, give or take. I forget exactly when that was. I think it was like right after season 1. And tomorrow they're going to be nerfed yet again. So here we have it right from the horse's mouth. Echelon's Intel suit now only reveals enemies through walls for the player wearing it. Allies will still see enemy locations on the minimap though. Then DeadSec Spirebots were shocking target players before leaping on their faces, which was more of a bug, and that's gonna be fixed. And so yeah, there you have it. The freaking Spirebot still doesn't work properly, but they're still working to try to make it work instead of just removing it from the game, which I think they should do. But man, Echelon's Intel suit. So initially, the first nerf, they made it so it went from a 30-second cooldown to a 40-second cooldown. Then from there, they made it so the ping from the Intel suit started happening every 4 seconds as compared to every 3 seconds. And then they made it so instead of revealing people through walls for 2.7 seconds, it only reveals them for 1 second. And now they're nerfing it even further so that only the active player can see enemies through walls. Allies can see them on the minimap, but they're not going to see them through walls. Like, that just really goes to show how overpowered Echelon's Intel suit was when this game first came out. And you know what? I've seen some people saying, man, they like nerfed them down to the ground, that it's gonna be like a dead class now. I'm okay with that. A-okay with it. I am A-okay with it because I am so freaking sick of people spamming Intel Suit constantly 24/7 in this game. It's still going to be relatively good. You yourself can still see people through walls. You can still ping people on the minimap. Like, it's going to be fine. It just won't be the ridiculously broken, overpowered garbage that it was when the game first came out. I'm pretty excited to see how that overall is going to play out as well when the update goes live. Now, if you're interested in ranked play, that was actually a big focus of today's XDebrief. Here's a quick summary of what's going to be changing tomorrow with the update. There's going to be something called a match cancellation process or an event of some kind. So basically, when you get into the game, it's not going to start a ranked match unless both teams have all their players, right? But then if somebody disconnects during the loading screen, like before they pick their weapons and before they pick their factions, then the game is going to cancel itself out and nobody is going to end up losing rank except for the person who disconnected. So for whatever reason, if you end up disconnecting, you're going to lose a little bit of your ranked points, but overall it's going to stop punishing people who are on a team where somebody disconnects or if somebody rage quits. Unfortunately, we have to wait till about Season 2 for them to add the rejoin feature into ranked play, which I think is such a ridiculous oversight almost. Like, if you get disconnected in ranked play, oftentimes, I mean, it might be a rage quit or whatever, it might be a troll, whatever the case may be, but if you disconnect for whatever reason, that's really frustrating, and then you lose some of your ranked points, and, you know, if you have a disconnect, you should be able to just rejoin very easily, get back into the lobby, and, you know, take a bit of a momentum loss, maybe lose a little points on the objective, but at least be able to get back in there and help out your team. Well, the rejoin feature is still scheduled for Season 2. So on one hand, it's kind of nice. Lobbies are now not going to be starting unless both teams are full. And then if at the very beginning of a match, if somebody disconnects, they're just going to cancel the match and nobody besides the guy who disconnected is going to lose anything. Like, those are positives, but not having the rejoin feature there, I think, is a bit of a disappointment for a lot of players. Now, if you're more interested in the casual aspect of XDefiant, well, I have good news. A brand new map is going to be coming out on August 2nd, so 3 days from today, although it's not going to be Rockefeller, which accidentally showed up during Season 1. It was available for a couple of hours. I was able to play it a couple of times. It was a really fun, fast-paced map, like ridiculously quick, like faster than Arena. Like, people are excited about that map after having seen it, but that's not going to be the map coming out in 3 days on August 2nd, because Daytona is going to be making its appearance, which, when you think about it, makes a bit more sense, because Daytona is going to be one of those linear maps, essentially. So instead of being an arena map where you play domination, occupy, team deathmatch, and all of that, it's going to be a map for zone control and escort. There are two different map types here with the XDefiant. They released an arena map at first with Season 1, and now the second map is going to be more for the linear style of play within the game. Again, game modes like escort as well as zone control. Overall, the map looks freaking fantastic. There will be a 24/7 playlist. I'm pretty excited about that as well, because the big thing about when they first dropped Clubhouse at the very beginning of Season 1, it was frustrating because there's only one new map technically added to the game at that point, and there wasn't even a 24/7 playlist for it. So if you're somebody who, you know, only has a little bit to play, you want to hop on for maybe an hour, and you know there's a brand new map, and you don't even find it in the map rotation, you're like, wow, this kind of sucks. I want to play the new map, but there's no 24/7 playlist for it. So I think they learned from their mistakes when it came to Clubhouse, and so when Daytona drops on August 2nd, there will be a 24/7 playlist, so anyone can just jump in, play around on it, and see whether or not they like it. Now, towards the end of the XDebrief, they went through and they answered some questions from the community from their Discord server, and the biggest thing here is we learned about more things that are going to be in development, basically just further solidifying things that we've learned about in the past. Like, currently in development is Prestige Mode, Weapon Mastery System Upgrade. I'm curious what they mean by that. They actually didn't go into any detail during the XDebrief, but maybe that is going to mean getting weapon XP for playing the objective. I think that should be one of their top priorities. Like, it just is so freaking ridiculous. Like, adding more camos does not make it better. Making it better would be making it so you can actually unlock the initial camos to begin with while playing game modes like Domination, Capture the Flag, Occupy, Zone Control, Escort, and basically anything besides Team Deathmatch. Then, of course, there we saw keyboard and mouse on console, private matches, which would be huge, and kill cams, which would be huge. As of right now, we don't have an ETA on these things, but it's official. It's on the XDebrief. Like, it's right there. It's in the video. Confirmed. They are coming to the game. We're not talking about tweets or anything. This is like official marketing for the game. So all those features will be pretty damn good when they're eventually released. But again, as of right now, we do not have an official timeline. Now, just like the initial XDebrief, they're also giving away a cosmetic item in the game by entering a code over on their website. The code is going to be down there in the description or in the pinned comment if you guys want to go and redeem the skin right here before it goes away. It's always nice to get free stuff here within the game. And there you guys have it, I suppose. That's pretty much it for the XDebrief. Ranked play is getting a little bit better. There's going to be a relatively big balance update tomorrow. Again, nerfing the MP7, changing up the ACR, changing up the AK-47, nerfing the Intel Suit into the ground. Spider bots are going to work more properly. Shotguns are actually apparently going to be viable cool. Like, it's a pretty big update right there. And then just a couple of days, we have another map releasing, which I suppose is also pretty good news. So I suppose the big question right now at the end of the video here is, what do you guys think of all of these updates, especially after yesterday's video talking about whether or not XDefiant is dead and this entire narrative that's like surrounding the community right now? I'm interested to hear what you guys think about tomorrow's update, the new map coming out, as well as the future updates that have been teased so far down there in the comments. Ladies and gentlemen, thank you all so much for listening, and I hope you guys all have a wonderful day.